Hello everyone, my name is Blue and we are back with more malicious compliance posts. Sometimes, following the rules is the meanest thing you can do. If you haven't yet, please consider subscribing to our channel, and with that, let's get into it. Want me to start as a new employee for our parent company? Okay, I'll use the new employee notice period to leave. Happened to me about 3 years ago now. I was working as a software developer for a smallish company owned by venture capitalists. I'd been there for just over a year and a half. The work was difficult due to losing staff and generally sloppy codebase that was originally outsourced to a company on the other side of the world that we couldn't contact, or generally understand their logic. My notice period was 3 months, pretty standard for a company this size for my role. A rival decides we're small enough to purchase our company just to get their hands on our bespoke software. They go ahead and, after a few weeks, have acquired our company and are formally introduced as the new owners. Everyone is a bit uneasy due to the change, but are reassured that it will be at least 6 months before any changes are made. Our department is pretty happy with that, where 3 developers, 2 business intelligence analysts, 1 tester, and 1 systems architecture engineer, all reporting to the CTO. No one expects anything bad until one day, we're all called into a meeting together with the new owners, announcing that they are looking to merge their IT department with ours and downsize them whilst they go. Here in the UK, there's an official term called being placed at risk of redundancy. Their IT department isn't too dissimilar to ours, 3 developers, 1 tester. We are all told that there are 3 positions available to the developers, 2 developer positions and 1 lead developer position. We are allowed to apply for all of them, 1 of them, or none of them. All of us brush up our CVs, go through the interviews, and have been looking for jobs elsewhere. All of the developers at our company decide that we want either the lead role or none at all, as unless we're getting the promotion, none of us really want to work for the new owners anymore. Overall, half the staff would be gone by the end of the month. After a week goes by, we are invited back to find out our fate. At this point, they decide that my 2 colleagues are being let go, paid their notice, and sent home on gardening leave. I'm offered the lead role with an unsatisfactory pay rise. I accept it and am given a document explaining the transition process. The new role is with the other company and starts the following Monday. There's a clause in the document saying I've got a 4-week period where both parties can decide it isn't working and leave on a week's notice. All seems fine, and I'm mostly relieved to have a job. It starts to sink in that I'm going to end up dealing with the brunt of the development whilst also trying to teach the 2 developers kept on from the other company what the code base was like. I decide that I'm going to look elsewhere and end up getting a better offer working closer to home. I walk into the office on the next Monday, asked to speak to my boss, the CTO. Hand him a letter informing him of my notice and that I'll be gone by the end of the week. He turns white as a ghost. All of the other developers from our company have already been paid off and their end of contracts processed. There was nothing they could do. They were out of developers that understood our code. It's nice to hear about somebody aggressively getting back at a company aggressively downsizing. Sometimes money isn't always the answer. Sometimes you need someone who knows what's going on, and you should probably pay them. Office chair prank. Too long didn't read at the bottom. English is my first language, but I'll blame all errors on the public school system. Years ago, I worked at a place that didn't pay very well, but shenanigans helped make up for it. Few were immune to pranks, and even managers and the company president were known to punk, before that was a term, the employees. One day, our manager was out of his office for something, so a couple of us quickly snuck into his office. Less than 30 seconds later, his chair was tucked back beneath his desk, minus the casters. Within a minute, we were back at our desks and earning our pitiful wages. The rush wasn't necessary because it was nearly a half hour later that our manager came into our room. Manager: "All right, I know one of you took the wheels off my chair." Us: "Don't know what you're talking about, boss." There were two of us, and they were casters. Room full of mechanical engineers, and the manager was one too. Manager does the fish-gulping thing at our denial for a moment. "Well, someone did. I'm going into a client meeting, and when I come back in an hour, those wheels had better be back in there." Approximately 63 minutes later, he returns to the room to find all 5 casters back in their respective places. But the chair is gone. We hear heavy footsteps coming our way. Whether from anger or the weight of responsibility, we don't know. We're, of course, dutifully working to earn our weekly paycheck and trying very hard not to look his way. We all know doing so will cause us to begin laughing. Manager sighs heavily. "Okay, guys, where's my chair?" That tells us the client meeting went well, and it's the weight of being responsible for a group of such stellar and respectful employees. Otherwise, he would have been cursing, throwing things, and one of us would have won the pool on the vein on his forehead bursting. We all exchange glances, communicating with nothing but our eyes, and take pity on the guy. We do rock, paper, scissors without looking away from our monitors or taking our fingers from the keyboard. Justin, not his real name, picks rock, as always, and is beaten by 7 papers. Justin: "Check the conference room, boss." When our manager enters the conference room, he finds his chair sitting in the center of the long table. His head drops, his fingers pinch the bridge of his nose, and he begins counting to 10. He made it to 4. Manager: "God dang it!" He takes his chair from the table, brings it back to his office, and shuts the door. The rest of the day was quite peaceful. Actually, it was the next afternoon before he spoke to any of us. We know this last part because one of our people in purchasing sits next to the meeting room and emailed all of us his reaction. That's just good pranking. That's really good pranking. That's clever stuff right there. The manager can't be mad. They put the casters back. And that's all the time we have for these malicious compliance stories. If you liked the stories, please click the like button, and if you haven't yet, please consider subscribing to our channel. Thanks for listening. Catch you later, everyone.